It's one day after the World Press Freedom Day, and the good news that Nigerians, some of them stranded in Sudan, are back, and some of the ones will be arriving today. Welcome to Sunrise Daily. I'm Neota Igbe.
Well, good news to start with is always something very wonderful to share. Good morning and welcome to the program. I'm Malkwe Ogun Yusuf.
So keep that date, May 4, 2023. Yes, Malkwe, some of us don't remember until, only remembered when we were in primary school. Amaya Makede, good morning and welcome to the program. And this morning we are going straight into the papers, and we have with us here Kashmir Igbokwe, who is former editor Sunday Punch, former editor Hallmark newspaper, and he's now editor-in-chief Union newspaper. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Ayo.
We've had days when all the papers said the same thing. Today is not just one of those days. Oh, by the way, before we go into it, can you spare a minute to talk about the World Press Freedom Day that we celebrated yesterday? How have we fared, and what's missing? What should we be doing going forward?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. World Press Freedom Day we celebrate every year. For us in Nigeria, we are not doing badly in terms of press freedom, but there are still some hiccups here and there that the government needs to attend to. For instance, a number of journalists have been incarcerated just for airing the opinion. And even channels, I must say, if truth must be told, recently was fined 5 million, just for live interview of somebody. And I mean, personally, I think it's not right. And there are some other infractions here and there the government needs to, look into. The press is there to guide the people, and the press is the voice of the people. When you suppress the press, you have suppressed the people. And so the government needs to actually, they are not doing badly considering other African countries where, people are worse. Have worse scenarios. Nigeria is not doing badly, but then we need to improve.
Okay. Well, I guess all pressmen have a consensus on that, and it's the consensus point we start with this morning. The Leadership newspaper opens with just that. On its front page, National Assembly Leadership, APC may opt for consensus Senate President and Speaker. That's the lead of the paper this morning, and look at the writers. Opposition members elect form coalition to produce speaker. NWC moves to end leadership crisis, asks Lukman to withdraw suit against Adamu Omishore. That story is the lead, and it continues on page 4. What do you make of this? There are those who point to the fact that this is the first time in Nigeria's presidential democracy experience that we're having a National Assembly that is not dominated more than 50% by the ruling party.
Well, it's a step in the right direction. It means that our democracy is growing. And what it means is that the ruling party, does not have that muscle, to breathe down on others as they used to. So the party has to sit up now, because if care is not taken, even the leadership of the House may be from the opposition parties. So it means that our democracy is growing, even though it still has some problematic areas. But the ruling party needs to sit up this time, because if care is not taken, I think it came about that way because of the PDP and the Labour Party. Labour Party made some inroads, in some states, and then the PDP. So the opposition combined may pose a challenge to the ruling party. And it's a matter of give and take. It's dialogue here and there for our democracy to move forward. So it's not a question of now one party now being lords over others. So that dialogue, the spirit of give and take, which democracy is known for, which is about democracy, will have to begin to germinate in our democracy now.
But we're very close to it in 1993. You remember the NRC already dominated the National Assembly, both chambers, even though, yeah, it was a two-party system.
Yeah.
The NRC already dominated the National Assembly, but the presidency was clearly going to the opposition.
Yeah.
So it never happened.
It never, yeah, I wanted to say that. It never happened. You know, 1993 was the unfortunate June 12 annulment, and you know what transpired thereafter. We never even recovered fully from that.
Well, anyway, that's the lead story of the Leadership newspaper this morning, and a number of other stories that you will find quite interesting, including this one. Ekwerimadu, Senate begs UK court for clemency. Find that story on page 13. Several others will all certainly meet up with on the front pages of other papers, but that's the Leadership newspaper this morning.
Well, let's take a look at what Daily Trust has now. You see the speakership opposition intensifies plot to upstage APC. Well, that's what Daily Trust has on the front page. Says, we're more than prepared. It's a fruitless move. That's according to the chief whip. Will abide by ruling party's decision. That's according to Task Force Forum. They can succeed, but that's according to analysts. You might want to read on what the but says. We're working on consensus. That's according to Adamu. Well, you already heard our guest there talk about what this might mean and how possible this is. So let's look at another story there. Sudan Crisis. Nigerian evacuees airlifted from Egypt without luggage. Well, I don't know how you see this story, but this is how Daily Trust is reporting it. I'm sure there's a reason why they have reported that they were airlifted without luggage. Page 30 is where you see details there. You see them, the pictures there, even giving you details of how, you know, I mean, giving you proof, more or less, of how they boarded Air Peace aircraft and then those in the C-130. And I'm just asking myself, if I were caught in this situation, Makwe, is it possible for you to really leave without your luggage? I don't know. This is a bit odd, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is odd. Obviously, it's a continuous story of Nigeria, where I may say some odd things happen. I will take it for granted. You know, initially this story started by people saying Nigerians were stranded and no attempt to evacuate them. And now, even those that were, when some attempts were made to evacuate them, the next story was that they got to a point and the vehicle broke down and all that. Even yesterday, I watched a video where some people were lamenting that they were still stranded, you know, in Egypt, sorry, in Sudan, that the buses came and picked some people and left them. So I don't really know. And this one now, you pick people and you leave their luggage. I don't know why that happened. Is odd and is I don't want to say it's laughable, because if you are in their shoes, you will not feel happy. Consider when you travel from one place to the other, and it happens sometimes. You land, you look for your luggage, and for one reason or the other, the airline tells you, oh, maybe your luggage is taken to another state or somewhere else. You don't feel settled until you get your luggage. So whatever caused it, those in charge should really look into it and ensure that these people get their luggage. It's not a palatable story at all. If we have to evacuate our people, we have to evacuate them totally. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that, you know, the people who were evacuated will be, you know, happy to be home, and those who, their parents and their loved ones will be happy to see them back hale and hearty, you know, considering the fact that they didn't go on holiday, they're coming from a war situation. And I hate to quickly divulge what I have just read, but it does appear that I think there was some dispute with the Egyptian authorities who insisted that everybody had to leave. And so they had to make the aircraft take more people. But I think they were able to sort out the luggage part of it. It's just the reporting here that I'm seeing. I'm just wondering how we take this particular story. It does appear that now, when we look at the story, we're not now looking at the people who have now safely returned. We're now going to be focusing on whether or not they came back with their luggage. I don't know. This is where we currently are. We are still expecting more people. A lot more Nigerians are still stuck between Sudan and Egypt. Considering how the first batch has now finally gone, do you think that there is hope that perhaps we might be able to get the second batch and maybe even the third batches in good time?
We always have to have hope. Without hope, then it means we are dead. So we always have hope, and we believe now we have seen the loopholes. I believe those in charge will, work on the loopholes and get the other people evacuated, even with their luggage, and not just evacuating just the people. As we say here in Nigeria, thank God that they are alive. Thank God that they are here, that they've been evacuated alive. So no matter what, their life is precious. They are the most important thing for now. Luggage, yes, with time, perhaps they will be sorted out. But for now, we thank God for their safe evacuation. We thank God for their safe arrival, and I'm sure their relatives, will be happy to see them back. So other problems, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or the NIDCOM, Nigerian Diaspora Commission, should look critically and ensure that whatever problem that may arise is tackled before the second and third batch, are brought in.
Well, let's leave it there for Daily Trust newspapers.
And the Guardian newspaper is the next one here. Guardian's focused more on Nigeria's debt profile, talking about 23.72 trillion naira debt that the government is owing. And you see the picture there of the four most important persons when it comes to debt issues in the country. Well, see the header, Nigeria to spend next 40 years repaying controversial 23.72 trillion naira CBN overdraft to FG. We'll come back to that one. Let's, above the nameplate, NAS leadership, Tinubu defers zoning decision after May 29, check page 6. Project refund, I owe you nothing. Tinubu tells Wike, that's on page 27. So let's come back to this this story again, the one about the debt. 23.72 trillion naira, Nigeria to spend the next 40 years repaying controversial 23.72 trillion CBN overdrafts to FG. What do you think? 40 years of paying debts. What will happen to development and going forward?
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate. That 22 or 23 point something trillion naira is just the ways and means, or in other words, overdraft. And it's unfortunate. It's not even the entire picture of Nigeria's debts. It's just what the federal government is owing the CBN. And there are these stories about government even spending above the threshold, above the 5% threshold before even seeking for approval, which to me is not palatable, it's not good. We keep doing things with impunity and getting away with it. We need strong institutions in this country to tackle some of these things. Right now, Nigeria debt is over 40-something trillion naira. And then when you add these ways, I mean, you are talking of about 70-something trillion naira. It's quite a lot. And we have 40 years to repay. You are generating this debt, you are accumulating this thing for the next generation. It's not good. And this is a government that has few weeks to live. So why accumulate this debt? It's unfortunate, and the Senate is just approved it without, I don't know. We have a big problem in this country, and economy-wise, we are not doing well at all. This government came on board promising to fix the economy. As it is going, the economy is worse off, and it keeps accumulating. Even the percentage of money spent on servicing these debts, is quite huge. It's very unfortunate. We cannot grow our economy this way. We can't at all. Yeah.
It's a good way to put it. And now this particular overdraft that Nigeria will spend 40 years to repay is not even the main debt, as you mentioned earlier. But let's leave that and look at the story at the bottom of the page. Police officers, families to vacate 25 barracks for renovations. What do you think of this? I mean, there was a time there was this conversation about policemen leaving. They should not live in the barracks. They should live amongst the citizens. That way, security can be more, can involve the citizens more. But here we are. They're going to leave 25 barracks to come into town, or maybe government will provide somewhere else to them. But what do you think? Do you think, how long would that renovation take? That story continues on page 9, but the renovation, where they're going to live for the period that the renovations will be happening, would that be the opportunity to move the policemen away from the barracks into the regular society?
You said how long will it last? Only God knows. We look at the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Since I came to Lagos, that road has been under repairs, under reconstruction, or whatever you call it today. It is still under reconstruction. It is still under repair. On my way to Channel this morning, we met a little traffic because of the construction on that road. And we were told it would be commissioned, was it not April 30? And it was not realized. Now we are in May. It will be commissioned in May. I won't be surprised if after May it will not be commissioned. The next government will inherit it, and they'll keep telling us every day or every month, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is under repair. And then we are talking of the barracks. Only God knows, because they will evacuate, these policemen will leave for wherever the accommodation will be made for them. I won't be surprised if this innovation takes another incoming government. I'm not talking of the Bola Tinubu incoming government. The one after Tinubu will still come and be talking about renovation of barracks. It's unfortunate. The country, our leaders need to sit up. Our leaders need to sit up. We do things with impunity. We do things that we ordinarily cannot do elsewhere. And the unfortunate thing is that they visit other countries, they see how things are done, but the moment they come into their own country, everything changes. Nothing works. It's unfortunate, but I don't know when the Messiah will come. But Nigerians have been expecting good governance, they've been expecting this Messiah, but we have not seen. I don't know when it will come. As for the policemen, sorry for them. I don't know when their own barracks will be ready, but even if they are relocating them, let it be to a decent accommodation, better than where they were before, so that when they return, if they will ever return to the barracks, then they will return to a far better environment. If you look at the barracks where they are staying now, is not where human beings should live. And these are the people entrusted with the security of the entire nation. They do this security thing with so much animosity. Sometimes their take-home pay does not even take them home. And that is why you see a lot of corruption. You see them on the road asking for bribes and all that, and we condemn them. But we fail to understand the condition under which they live. We need to improve their condition. We need to make life better for them so that they will secure us effectively. If we don't do that, forget it. The security situation in the country, even as we speak, is not something to cheer about. So security is key. The government needs to take care of the security men and women, accommodation, salary-wise, and what have you. So the barracks...
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you were saying the barracks?
Yeah, I said the barracks, I said it before, the barracks where they stay now, currently, if you have an opportunity to visit, most of those barracks, they are an eyesore. They are an eyesore. And good enough, they are being renovated now. Good. They are being renovated. And at the end of the day, let the renovation not take a lot of time. Renovating a building, highest few months, they should be done with that, so that these people will relax, have a relaxed and good atmosphere to do their work. Outside that, I don't know. So we keep hoping for the best.
All right, thank you. We'll leave the Guardian at that one. Ayo.
Well, thank you, Nyota. Interesting, at least for eons we've been talking about renovation of those barracks. There are 25 of them. I wonder how many policemen and their families are within those barracks. Let's just, as you said, hope for the best. By the way, that information about the evacuees traveling without their luggage, there's another report that another aircraft, Air Peace, is bringing those luggage back home. I guess we'll have to confirm that as well. Nigerian News Direct has this one on its front page, and where you are talking about the economy. 26 days to hand over, Buhari unveils Agenda 2050, eyes 165 million jobs. That story is on the fourth page, page 4 of the paper. Look at the writers. Targets increase of per capita income to $33,328 per annum. Aims at placing Nigeria amongst world's top economies by 2050. President urges incoming administration to implement plan. Find that on page 4. What do you make of that? Ambitious, isn't it?
Yeah, it's another laughable ambition.
Oh.
It's laughable, yes, because we are very good in churning out agendas and good policies. But how do we implement them? Agenda 2050. What happened to Agenda 2015 to 2023? Where we are, Nigerians, the present government made a lot of promises. How many of such promises, we are redeemed? And now you are leaving office, you are giving us Agenda 2050. What were you able to do? What were you able to do when you were in power? And then, it's laughable because you say you will create how many 1,000 million jobs, and even now, how many jobs did this government create? Conservatively put, our unemployment rate is 33.3%. I bet you it's over that. It's just conservatively put. I think that figure has been since 2020. Recently, if the NBS, Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, if they do another one, you discover that it will be way higher. So 33.3% is even on a conservative level. Do you see any good lining in the horizon? What gives you that impression that it will create 130-something million jobs in 2050? Where are the companies? Meanwhile, the ease of doing business is not there. The companies are folding up. Some of them are easing off workers, and then you are talking of creating more jobs. How? The question is how? How do you do it?
Well,
it's so easy to say, but how do you do it?
But two things you seem to be saying. Number one, we review the previous plans, and number two, you tell us the plan to execute this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's move on. A couple of other stories. 376 evacuees arrive Abuja from Sudan. That's find that on page 22. And then this one, FG Roads, Wike Eyes Project Fund. Tinubu replies, I owe you nothing. The story is one thing. The perspective or the context within which it's said is another thing. Sometimes it gives an editor a challenge, doesn't it?
It does. And most state governments, are fond of delving into federal roads, repairing, reconstructing. At the end of the day, you're asking for a refund. Did Wike get approval from the federal government before embarking on the road? I guess he did not. So before you ask for any refund, you have to get approval first to do the road. Once you didn't get any approval, then you don't need to ask for any refund. If refund is made, fine, you are lucky. If it's not made, so be it. So the asking for refund when you didn't even seek for approval in the first place is neither here nor there.
Well, as you often say, that's governance and that is politics. I guess we'll see how it plays out.
We'll see how it plays out. Well, if Tinubu comes in and Wike is trying to worm his way into the incoming administration, and maybe he will keep on lobbying as Asiwaju Tinubu said, let Wike continue to lobby, and let's see and hope that the refund will be made.
Okay.
Because we are very good in lobbying. You see what is going on at the National Assembly, lobbying for the Senate President, lobbying for the Speaker of the House of Representatives. And this, the Southeast saying is our turn, the Northwest saying is our turn, the North Central saying is our turn.
Well, maybe we need to create a timetable so that we know who is next on the roster. Kasmiri Gbokwe, thank you so much for coming this morning. He is editor-in-chief, Union newspaper, former editor, Sunday Punch, and former editor, Hallmark newspaper. And with that, we come to the end of a look at the papers, some of the papers, the headlines this morning. We're back right after now to delve into one of those issues. Please stay with us.